today we're going to be dissecting quite a number of issues pertaining to real estate, women, and so much more. My name is Chika, and today I am joined by
Voke Irekpita.
Yes, Voke is from Voke Irekpita. She is one of Nigeria's most seasoned, successful, absolutely knowledgeable real estate brokers, and there's more to Voke as we're going to find out in a little bit. So first of all, I'd like us to start the conversations with talking about career paths and navigation. We live in a country where, for the most part, before now, I think during the time of, like during my generation when I was younger growing up, we grew up in a time where you studied one thing, and then when you finished and graduated from university, that's the thing that you practice, right?
Very
for
true.
the most part. And then when people see you at some point in your life navigating into doing something else and something else, you begin to look like a joker. So I'd like us to talk about career paths and navigation. Now times have changed. We live in a time where people study one thing and they're doing the complete opposite. And so they can make a detour and make a return, make a career switch as they deem fit without recourse to anyone. Why do you think that that's something that should not be frowned on, taking into cognizance, for instance, your own experience with career switching in a sense, even though I know you still do great work with interior. So for those of you who don't know, Voke is a fantastic interior solutions expert, blinds and curtains, Lagos. So talk to us about what informed, first of all, what informed that switch in terms of saying, oh, I've practiced, the business of providing people with unique interior solutions for years, and now I'm doing real estate. Talk to us about the thought process that informed that switch.
So first of all, it's this is something that a very wise man from time past, I consider him one of my mentors, even if he's no longer existing. I'm talking about the person of King Solomon.
Okay.
In Ecclesiastes, he actually talked about us putting our resources into different baskets, into different places, because we do not know for which one that is going
the
to
biggest bounty.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, it's nothing new. It's just that a lot of people are now accepting it at the moment, and some people are still frowning at it. What informed my decision? I studied law, and even right from when I've been doing law. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm passionate about interior design and all of that. So after graduation, I went to school. I went to Urbano Interior Design School in United Kingdom. We did that. I worked with a very big brand, with Omon and anybody. The Interior Designers Association of Nigeria. I interned with them. That was the very first place I worked, and that was where Omon found me. I worked with her, and after some time, I branched off on my own. Why did I go into real estate? As interior designers, we are big on how spaces are built. And sometimes when we go into a space, I'm like, what is going on? So it actually started from what are developers building. So when
I can relate to most parts.
I mean, there was an essay we went to, and they built the staircase facing the bathroom. So we had to shut off where the original door was and then put it somewhere else. And then another thing is, I'm quite resourceful. And when I'm with my clients, I don't just deal with them based on, I'm doing interior design for them. I get really close to my clients, and I tend to do things that are not even within the line of.
Provide 360 solutions to all of their needs, their housing needs. Yeah.
So, and even some personal needs. So some of them will tell me, okay, can you just help me go and do so at my property and then I go and then I do it for them. And then I even
do a fantastic
job for them, and they're like, and then they started recommending it to other people. One of them even said, you know what, okay, I've had this property in the market for so long. I know that you're the one person that when you set your heart to something, you will actually make sure you get it done. And then she listed the property with me, and then I got it sold. And from there on, they keep bringing those requests. Aside from that, people trusting me with their properties, and then me helping them get buyers at the price that they want, satisfying both parties, bringing people together, which is something that is another core of me, bringing people together.
You are a unifier. Anybody who knows Voke knows that Voke is the crowd puller.
Yes, so,
she's really good with people.
Yes,
bringing people together.
So I think that's it for me.
Fantastic. I like some of the things that you mentioned that really stand out for me is the fact that there are certain lines of business that you do and they are all intrinsically linked. And in fact, even in life generally, some things that we think stand in isolation do not really stand in isolation. Everything is like a web that you just have to envision the bigger picture so that you can see how everything fits. I will also share my own experience as somebody who has an arts background. If you don't know, I studied theatre arts and English at University of Nigeria. So the core of who I am is stage, film, media. That's what I have passion for, to be honest. All my life I've worked in broadcasting as a presenter, TV on-air personality, stage actor, film actor. That's for like the first part of my life, from when I turned 15, when I got into college, up until when I turned maybe 20 something. I worked in media, advertising agencies. I've worked the entire spectrum. I've worked in different, 9 to 5 corporates, right?
Which is fantastic.
Yes, but I noticed that one thing that has also helped me excel in real estate, which I've been doing for almost 5 years now, is the fact that when you're able to paint a picture, when you're able to really tell and get to the core of what people's passions are, if you're able to bank on their emotions and really paint pictures that they can see themselves in, even when there's no existing property. I remember when I worked with one real estate company that sold majorly lands. They sold the most number of plots when I was there. People would often say, it's so difficult to sell land because there's nothing, it's abstract, right? So, but the skills that being a storyteller, being a media person equipped me with is being able to articulate properly the vision of what doesn't even exist. And so when I got into real estate, it was only too easy for me to navigate that field of endeavor as well, being able to talk to people, being able to stand in front of people, record my videos, walk into a boardroom, have the poise and the elegance and the know-how that's required to actually sell. So I honestly feel that, like, regardless, what you should take out from this is, regardless of what you're doing right now, I feel like you're going to be selling yourself short if you say, I'm one thing and one thing only. It's not a case of being a jack of all trades and being a master of none. The human mind is so rich, and as humans sometimes we're so bestowed with talents that you never know until you explore. And why should you leave the face of this earth without having milked?
And that's something else that being in real estate and interior design has helped me with real estate. In interior design, you really need to learn the art of listening to your clients. And what that has taught me is, in how I've married it to real estate, is when a client asks for a specific thing, did you listen to what they want? Because if you listen, you will not go and start drowning them with a whole lot of things that is not, related to what they want. If you listen and you get clients what they want, you save your time, you save yourself time, you save the client's time, and you save both parties stress. You know what they are looking for. So when you take a client, if you've listened well, you don't need to take a client to 10, 15 properties. 2, at the most 3.
You just mentioned something that's really at the core of what we do. In whatever business you do, really and truly, this applies. It's the same principle that applies. Paying attention so that you can really get a holistic sense of what things are. I want to talk about listening to a certain sector of investors that we have in the market right now. Let's listen and see what they're saying. Before now, I know for a fact that young people, when they come upon money, when they chance upon money, the things that are within their sphere of interest in terms of how they expend their money was different. So back when I was growing up, young people come into money, they're thinking of the flashy things that they serve you on the outside, in terms of what car you're driving, what you own for material things, the trinkets, the flashy things of life. That's how people know you have arrived, right?
Yes.
And so what we noticed is a lot of young people missed out on huge opportunities that could have set them up for the entire course of their
I
life.
missed out on opportunities.
Yes, we'll speak about that in a bit. But I feel like there's a mindset shift, and please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'd like to share your thoughts. A mindset shift has happened, even from borrowing from what we see from outside of our own country. I know a lot of people, young people who live outside of Nigeria, who at 18, 19, they're saying, oh, I just acquired my first property. They have it easier because yes, they have a thriving, vibrant mortgage system, which we're beginning to have here as well.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, owning a property, home ownership has become a bragging right, even for young people now. To what extent do you think that mindsets have changed for a young Nigerian boy or a young Nigerian girl? To what extent do you think that really we're getting a final sense of what an asset truly is? How are young people changing in terms of what they view to be the best use of money when it comes to investments with home ownership? To what extent has that changed?
So,
and how do you think we can foster that change, and ensure it keeps happening so that people focus on the right things?
So I think that one thing that has really helped young people is information. Today, the information is open to anyone who is ready to listen. And most young people, they are online, they are listening, they are, just checking. And you see young people as young as 24, they already own real estate, no matter how small. Some of them do off plans, some of them, and you think they don't know what they're doing. That there's even a young guy who is still living with his parents, and he has already keyed into an off-plan property in Ikoyi. So by the time he's ready to settle, like move out, say like by the time he's 27, the property is ready. So if he says he wants to move into that property, which he even mentioned to me that he will not be moving into it, here's what he said. He said he would put the property out for rent because he knows that in that location is expatriates most of the time that take up such rent, and you know how much rent in Ikoyi is. So he would put it for long lease with one of all these expatriate companies, and then he would rent a place for himself. So you see how someone who is as young as 23 is already thinking, I'm not going to tell you, at that age I was not thinking.
Neither was I.
I'm not going to lie.
Neither was I.
I wasn't thinking such big thoughts. But it's good that young people are doing that. Some of them purchase properties at a pair, just came into. I remember when I started my first million naira. I don't want to mention what I used that money to do, but let's just put it all out there.
Right.
I went and someone convinced me to do this Swiss golden, all these
marketing, affiliate marketing.
Marketing, multi-level marketing, where you have to bring all those other three people. At that time, that 1 million naira, I could get a good 600 square meter plot in Ibeju, Lekki. I'm talking about where ShopRite is, Monastery Road, that axis. I could get a property around Abraham Adesoye. I could get a plot as at that time for 1 million naira. Right now, a plot of land in the axis is going for 30 million. So imagine imagine if I had gone, I had keyed into it. Imagine the kind of money I'll be making now, which is what a lot of young people, they don't even want to stress themselves. And if you're in your 20s, to like 30s, you need to maximize every income. There's nothing bad in still staying in your parents' place. Just abide by the rule. What's the hurry? And then you're building. And what it does is, when it's now time for you to take care of your parents, it becomes easier for both you and the parent, because you have something, real that you can, that keeps giving.
Yes, it's a gift that keeps giving.
It's a gift that keeps giving. Real estate is a gift that keeps. So I'll use the same boy. Let me not call him boy. Young man in question. Imagine him in 2 years' time now. He's already earning, in dollars, because some of those properties, let's not say in dollars. Let people not say we are the ones spoiling Nigeria. But it is what it is. He's earning some good money every year.
And rent continues to appreciate. Are you seeing what the rest are saying right now?
Yeah, so he's, I can even say that he's set for life.
Yes. Because he's getting rent every year and the property is still there, still standing. If you decide to do an outright sale, you just imagine what comes
So the thing is for young people, start. Don't say you're too young to start. Don't do that to yourself.
Another thing that I think is a wonderful advantage that young people have now is earning power and how they are earning. Back in our times, if you didn't have a blue chip job with a blue chip company, oil and gas, and you couldn't earn enough that would, allow you that flexibility of investing, saving up in bulk and investing. But right now, young people are making money online. I know to a large extent, 25% of my clientele are content creators. Can I shop? Like content, skit makers, content creators. And this is legit. I'm not talking about boys who are pressing P. You understand? I'm not talking about boys that are pressing. I'm talking about people who are making legit money from content, from TikTok, from Facebook. They are making silly money. And then now, because they understand that time is currency, and that's one thing that we didn't have that understanding in our time. Understanding that time itself is currency. So many of these young people have heard their fathers and their uncles tell them stories of how when they were younger they were calling them, come and invest in a lucky face. When they say it's bush. They've had their fathers and uncles and family members tell them the story time and how they missed out on solid investments because they didn't have foresight. And because they played with time. So now these young people know better. They know better not to play. They'll ask you, I want to get something. This is what I have. What can I get with this right now? And they will move. As soon as you do your due diligence, you check out the property, they will pay and grab it with both hands. So I think that the timing is great. This is a great time for young people. You're never too young. And parents, please, there's some properties on the market right now that are curated specifically for young people and for kids. For instance, a land investment, land banking, they'll tell you in the next 10 years we have no plan to actually build. It's not buy and build. This is land banking. So imagine that you're buying for a baby, you're buying like a hectare of land somewhere far off in Ijebu-Ode that has close proximity to Lagos because location is very important. And then imagine when that kid is like 15, 20. Imagine what that land will be coming to, a hectare. So it's important that parents help your children, as they grow, begin to make them see and understand what real estate truly is, get the right information and pass it on to kids in the way they can understand. And young people, please take advantage of
the time.
Exactly, and the immense opportunities that lie in real estate. So now I'd like us to come down to us as women. I feel that times are getting better for women, even though we still have a unique set of challenges in the day and age that we live in. We live in an age now where women are not willing to take lying down the things that our mothers took. Right? Which has pros and cons. Now we're seeing a lot of women become very emancipated, financially and mentally. But you still find that to a large extent we have women who are still heavily dependent on the people around them, on family members, to get by. I would like us to demystify real estate because even in this day and age, some women look at real estate and they take like 2 steps back. And it's almost looking like it's not for me. Let me report to my husband. Let me speak to my uncle. It's not something that you can. It's looking like most women cannot stand on their own. Some women cannot stand on their own and say, okay, I have thought this through. This is the path of reward for me when it comes to real estate and I'm doing this. How do you think that we can better embolden women? How can we create more opportunities? How can we make it easier for women to come together if they have to collaborate and ensure that they are tapping into the industry and the investment of real estate?
So here's the thing, there's a lot of platforms that even encourage women. At this time, there's a lot of support for women, and it's just information. So what we can do on our part as realtors is just educate women. There's a lot that exists, different packages for women who work from home, for mompreneurs, for even if you're not doing anything. There are platforms that will help you organize yourself such that you can still do something even if you're a housewife, so to speak. The job that you do is just taking care of the home and the children. There are opportunities out there for you, so you can stay tuned to our channel. We'll bring some of this platform, we'll talk about some of these things over time, and then which one fits best. You can also reach out to us and talk to us privately, both Chika and I, and we'll provide a guide that would really suit you.
Once we have a fine sense of what your preferences are, what your budget is, what you're looking at, we can then curate something specific to you. But one thing I would even like to share here off the top of my head, for instance, in terms of how women can easily get into and enter the investment market is crowdfunding. You know, because sometimes we cannot lie. Okay, let's be honest. Real estate is capital intensive. It's the reason why developers have it here. Sometimes when it comes to funding their project as well, they have a hard time sometimes navigating that world of funding for real estate. Loans are in double digits. So if you see you want to go and take a loan to invest in real estate, you are doing yourself the greatest service. I know a couple of friends, women, who year in, year out, all they do is rinse and repeat. Let me explain what I mean. So they come together, like 5 women, and they say, okay, we want to buy a 2-bedroom apartment in Lekki Phase 1. None of them can float the entire funds as required to actually obtain or acquire that asset. So what they come together and do is, okay, we're 5 women, a 2-bedroom right now in Lekki Phase 1 is probably 160 million. We divide 160 million by 5 of us, we can float that. So we come together, we bring the funds, we set everything up in trusts. So we get legal advisors who will handle the paperwork.
Exactly.
The titles, documents is done all in their names. It's curated for them, you know, so it protects the interests of everyone involved, and they break down the entries in the legal documents, caters to everything. If we decide to put on the rental market, how does that play out? If we want to resell after 5 years, how does it play out? If you know, the co-ownership structure is so detailed such that everyone's interest is protected, and you cannot renege, you cannot go back on that agreement. And year in, year out, they exit an investment, they enter another one with the added advantage of profit and appreciation. So imagine buying a 2-bedroom as at 5 years ago, and they want to sell the 2-bedroom right now and they go for 160. You know that in 5 years, a 2-bedroom in Lekki Phase 1 can go for as high as 300 million or more. So that's just one of the many opportunities that women can tap into and say, I'm not waiting to get the bulk lump of sum to actually invest in real estate. I'm starting now.
You know, and there are even some properties that even would say, you know what, because you're a woman, they give you payment plan, and then you can move into the property while you're still paying.
So instead of paying rent?
Because, yes, instead of paying rent, you move in, you have a small initial deposit. Move in. It's only available for women. You move in, and then you can spread the payments over time.
Love it.
So there's so much opportunity out there for women. You know, all of the movements, all of the things that we've been saying. People that are listening, that are listening to
what you're hearing.
Yes. So just we women just need to take action, and don't be scared. Women have been owning property
for the longest time. In Bible times,
they've just been doing it silently, quietly and codedly.
Love it.
So if you have interest, don't be scared. Take that bold step. Reach out to us, and then we'll help you curate.
And I think really fear comes from not doing it right. If you do it right, and this is why I always hammer on due diligence. So if you're getting a realtor who is just telling you, bring your money, and he's not telling you, madam, go and get your surveyor, go and get your lawyer, then you're not doing it right. So it's important to do it right so that you do not cry hot tears.
Exactly.
Finally, before we go, I'd like us to talk and touch on why real estate. The reason I want to say this is because a lot of people don't like to see realtors and brokers coming from a mile away. They feel like we come with the singular aim of getting them to part with their money just because we're looking to earn a commission, and that we will do and say anything that is required to get investors to part with their money. So okay, I hope that we can be very honest in our answers for this particular question. If you are not playing in the field of real estate, right, like you're not a broker, but just going with what you know honestly about real estate, why real estate? Why should anybody living today honestly and critically think and make major moves on investing in real estate? Let's talk about the drawbacks, let's talk about the good sides.
So real estate for me is something that you can see and hold and touch. This is where my money is. The only other thing personally for me that can still do that, which has an advantage over real estate,
liquidity.
Yes,
we talked about it.
Yes, so you cannot easily real estate is not something you just put and say, okay, tomorrow, I need money, I want to sell it. No. You cannot easily. It's not something that you just do
in a couple of hours,
or in a couple of days. It will take time before you can sell off real estate if you want to cash back. The only
so what's that thing?
Yes, so it's gold. Everybody knows that gold can save your life.
It has saved
gold can save your life. So gold is the only other thing that I know that when you put money in it, after some time it appreciates. You have won it, you have gone to all the shoulder more parties, you've shown yourself, you've rocked it, you still sell it. I mean, there's a piece of jewelry that I wear like almost every day, and I bought that piece, just the neck chain itself, for 93,000 naira. And I went somewhere. I went to a spa. My friends dragged me to spa, and they told me I have to take it off, blah blah blah, because it's really tiny. I'm telling you, this thing is really tiny. I mean, for 93K, you can imagine how tiny it's what it is. And I took it off, and my daughter Elsa tore this thing into three. That was it though. I said I don't even want this thing, is too fragile. I ended up selling it off for 150K, and that's after I've worn it out. I said I don't take it off, and I sold it like in an instant. It gives you the money back. So for real estate, it's not something that you just say, I bought some plots of land. And then, but what real estate will do for you is this: if you need cash, it's something that you can use as collateral. So the easiest way is to put it down as collateral. But what pays more for real estate in collateral? Some banks don't take land.
Yes,
they want build houses. So it's different. Intricacies. But all in all, real estate is the thing that you can see, touch, and feel. You know where your money is, and it has its many advantages.
Yes, you're right. I'll talk about one drawback. I have clients who are abroad, and they always say to me, Chika, look, we understand real estate, right? But for instance, I live in the US, I have no plans, I don't do any business here in Nigeria. So the only reason I would invest in real estate is because I want to invest here in Nigeria. When I exit this investment, I want to convert my naira to hard currency and move my funds back to where I play, in the space I play in investments, which is abroad. And I always say to clients, if that really is your reality, then maybe you shouldn't invest in real estate in Nigeria. Because I've had clients who say, I have nothing. Look, I have to move my money out. So my brother I was trying to convince him. He said to me, where I currently stay, I pay rent. So he recently bought a property, and he's leasing out the BQ units of his property. He lives in the main building. So when he was renting, he said he was renting for over $1,500 in Canada, right? Now, if he's thinking of buying a 3-bed terrace in Nigeria here, for instance, because he has no plan to come back to Nigeria. He has nothing doing that. He's a 9-to-5er, right? So now if he invests in this 3-bedroom terrace that can fetch him, let's say, rental income, let's say 6 million, right? Or 5 million. When he converts 5 million to Canadian dollars, he cannot cater for his rent. He cannot cater for his rent back home. He cannot pay the monthly mortgage payments that he needs to pay back there. So these are the things, but I strongly advise, there are certain clients that I have who have investments. They have a restaurant business, they're paying school fees here, there are things that they're doing here in Nigeria. When you have things that you need to expend money for here in Nigeria and you're out of the country, by all means, please invest in real estate, and you have to curate it very well. So the highest profit margins, of course, come from land. To be honest, land in the right location. Because a built property, yes, unless you're buying in Lekki, Ikoyi, even Ikoyi, sometimes the acquisition kind of stalemate at some point, right?
But if you want to earn in dollars, that's the right place. Ikoyi, VI, Lekki. So you have properties there that you can earn in dollars. But the thing is, you have the, you know, because it can be capital intensive. Do you have that kind of capital to put into the property so that you can earn in dollars? The only way you can do that, if you want to do that, is to get in on it while the property is still off plan. So I think that for real estate, it's just basically be clear what you want. And as Chika said, if you
what
have
your short and long term goals
exactly, just be very clear what you want, and then reach out to a real estate professional who will guide you.
Somebody who knows what they're doing, who has integrity
and has your interest at heart.
Absolutely. I mentioned the drawback, but for me, the major reason why anybody should invest in real estate is, for as long as you're on this planet Earth, there's no other planet that you discover that life can survive. It's only this Earth. As long as you live on planet Earth, as long as people step their foot on bare ground, right? Real estate will always be in demand. And I think we need to broaden our horizon in terms of what we consider real estate. Sometimes when we think about real estate, we are thinking about just built environment where you put your head.
To sleep, rent,
right? But the hospitals you go to, the pharmacies you go to get your drugs, that's real estate. The schools your kids go to, the market where you buy every farm, every space. Car parks, when you park your cars, when you go to Lagos Island and there's no place to park in CMS.
So people are cashing out millions every day on car parks.
So the minute you can
just bare land,
I'm telling you,
nothing else.
So you need to understand and broaden the scope of what you understand real estate to be. There's commercial real estate, there's industrial real estate, there's residential real estate, there's hospitality. There are different,
agricultural.
So how can you explore all of these and say that these things that are always in demand because human beings need to exist, survive, thrive, and do business?
You must put your legs somewhere now.
You definitely are going to make a ton if you do investments right. And one of the most beautiful things, my final thoughts on this, is real estate helps you to hedge inflation. See, go and have honest conversations with people who are delving into the stock market. Go and have honest conversations with people who are doing crypto, and let them walk you through the entire footprint, even with forex. Tears go. Nobody tells you about those tears. Even in real estate, there's tears.
There's tears.
But of course, to a large extent, if you do your due diligence right, your wins are way more and will make up for any tears that you will cry along the way because of trial and error if you're just starting out. But once you hone in on how it truly works, the gains are enormous. And so I'll say to anyone, please, if you haven't invested, now is the time. Yesterday was the time, but today is the next best time to invest in real estate.
And then listening goes both ways. If you're investing and you want to do it right. So when your realtor is listening to you and giving you feedback, you also want to listen.
Absolutely.
So you don't just want to say,
this is what I want.
These people, brokers, realtors, they are in the business.
They play in the market. They have information that you probably don't have. They know developers who are honest and trustworthy that you don't know. If you ask me 10 developers and ask me to rate them, I will rate them. I will just not do it here. But I'll rate them when I'm doing one-on-one consultations with you.
So,
yeah.
Listening goes both ways.
Sure.
Real estate is real. You can touch it, you can see it, you can
make money from it, you can sleep in it, you can do all things with you can do all things through real estate that strengthens you.
I'm telling you.
Let's turn it to Bible. Thank you so much, Voke. It was really nice having you on the show today.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you just caught this part, you have to go back and rewind. Start from the very beginning. We had Voke Irekpita from Voke Homes. She is the CEO, founder of Voke Homes, as well as the CEO of Pertains and Pertains Lagos. So follow her on her socials. We're going to put all of the links in the caption and get in touch with her for more. And I am Chika Okeke, of course, your one and only real estate investment expert and broker, and we do all things real estate and we do it right. I always say that due diligence is our first name, integrity is our last name, and we own both names proudly. So reach out to us, any of us, if you're looking to start right now with what you have in the world of real estate. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Ciao.